Hi everybody, today we're going to make 6 St. Patrick's Day projects. And of course, use the clay brand of your choice, make sure it's conditioned. Let's get started. And I've cut some paper into 3x3 pieces. This is what I'm going to make the projects on. They are all going to be pins, which you can also use as ornaments to hang on a tree. I'm sorry about the blurriness. It's cars going by shaking my tripod. So these are the colors we're going to use. I don't think you want to change colors because it is for St. Patrick's Day and we'll be doing green. And these are 3x3 pieces of cardstock. And we are going to start with a wishbone. And I used gold to make the wishbone. Well, no, we're not going to start with that. First, I'm going to show you how to make the shamrocks if you don't have a shamrock cutter. And you probably don't because we're going to make very, very small shamrocks. And we're going to use the Kemper cutter heart shapes. And 3 hearts will make a shamrock. And if you don't have the little tiny cutters, you can always roll them by hand, which it'll take more time, but if you're only doing one for yourself or someone else, it's not so bad. And when we do the very last one, I'll show you how to do that. But I think I've shown you that before, how to do the shamrocks. So this is kind of a medium size, and then I have a very small cutter also. And it takes 3 hearts to make a shamrock. And I will show you that right now. And this video gave me so much trouble with all the traffic and the shakiness. Now this is the larger Kemper cutter, and I think they do come larger, but I don't know if I have the larger ones. I probably do somewhere, but who knows where. And then of course there's the little tiny ones, which we'll do later. And you see we just press them together, and then press them in the middle. And there you have your shamrock. I wonder why they're called shamrock. I should have looked that up. I may have once upon a time, but I'm 70. I forget things. And now this is the medium size. For the larger pins, I did use a cookie cutter. I couldn't find my smaller shamrock cookie cutter. I haven't done them in years, so I just couldn't find it. And I used that one quite a bit. And this right now is the time of year to get your shamrock cookie cutter if you're looking for one, because they're not all that easy to find after this time of year, at least in my experience. All right, and now we are going to make, ta-da, a wishbone. We had a chicken last week for dinner, and I saw the wishbone, and I thought, oh, that would be kind of cool. I've never made the wishbone. I can't talk today either. I have believe me, I don't drink, except for coffee and water. I have never made a wishbone pin before. You are watching me make the very first one I've ever made. So I hope it comes out okay. Now, all the other ones I have made, I have got to stop bumping on the computer because I'm sure every time I bump on it, it probably makes a little noise on your end. And this is a long video, guys, so hang in there. And of course, you can always go to the part that you want to see. And that kind of looks like a wishbone. I think so. And we're going to put a shamrock right in the middle. And I didn't use the shamrock that I made up on top because it was too thin. I did a double layer of clay to do the shamrock. And that just makes it a little stronger. Another thing I would like to say is, yes, I am using Sculpey 3 here, but do not use Sculpey 3 to make pins. I love Sculpey 3, and I've had lots of success years ago doing pins with Sculpey 3. But I always mixed Super Sculpey in with my Sculpey 3. So I would recommend, if you want to do this, use Fimo or Primo. And I think you'll be a lot better off. Use one of the stronger clays, or Kato, because when you're making jewelry, people will be wearing it, and it'll get wear and tear. Ornaments just kind of dangle on a tree, having a good time. But the jewelry, you have to make sure it's strong, especially if you're selling it. You don't want to sell a defective product that can break easily. And you don't have to texture it if you don't want to. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. This is my first cup of coffee in 4 days. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. What is wrong with me? I know on the other video I may have said I was drinking coffee, but that was a few days ago. I am not a coffee snob. I don't drink strong coffee. I drink what they call coffee milk. I put a lot of cream or milk in my coffee. And I drink the cheapest instant coffee I can get, and I enjoy it. And right now I'm drinking Food Lion instant coffee. For those of you who don't live down south, that is a grocery store. And now we've made some little gold balls and flattened them for gold coins, and they are in the middle of the shamrock, and that's it. And we will give this an antique kind of finish at the end, or you can leave it like this. It doesn't matter. You can even put sparkles or whatever you want on there. But there's your basic wishbone pin. First one I ever made. Next, we're going to do the horseshoe. I have made these horseshoe pins, but for some reason, it just took me forever to make that horseshoe. And the last few videos, my clay has been really soft. I don't know if it's all the lights I work under or what, or if just because it hasn't really been that warm here, but it's been, in the 50s, 60s. But the clay has been really soft. And I like working with softer clay, but clay that's too soft, no, just not that good. I think I just rolled it out too much. I had a lot of excess on this. And what we want to do with this, you want to leave like a larger section in the middle and then roll out the ends. Roll the ends a little bit thinner. See how I'm rolling the ends a little bit thinner there? And it's way too long. I have a sterling silver horseshoe pin that my great aunt left me. And it's in my jewelry box somewhere. I should have just taken it out and looked at it and said, oh, this is the way I should do it. But it's not a Valentine's Day pin. It's just a silver horseshoe. She lived in Sun City, which I think is a retirement home in Arizona for many years, and she got a lot of sterling silver things. She's been gone for, gosh, about 40 years now. My grandfather was one of 9 children, and she was one of them, and she never married, but she did okay for herself. See, now we kind of shape it into a horseshoe. Just keep fiddling with it till you get it the way you want it. And then I made some holes where the nails go. Now, don't on the bottom, don't put any holes. We're going to write there. And then we are going to make our shamrock. I think that the one that was too big. And again, you don't want your shamrock too thin. And I do squeeze them a little bit to make them a little bit thinner. And just squish them together. Now, I have done these with the rainbow behind them. And that's cute too, but more work. And this one's going to get a little stem. So just roll out a little rope. I wonder if you can hear all the cars going by. They're very loud tonight. I'm doing this at around 6 o'clock in the evening. I had a lot of running around to do today. A lot of, I'm the private taxi service for the family. And now I'm going to do Luck. And I just kind of do it in dots with the end of the knitting needle. Quick and easy. These are great if you need something green to wear on St. Patrick's Day. And it'll be different than what everybody else is wearing. You just say, yeah, I made this myself. Next is, I believe, the hat. Here you get a good view. The hat is very easy. Now, I do use a lighter shade of green for the shamrock on the hat, but I don't think you can really tell on the video. I should have gone with like a lime green, and I didn't. And I had my lime green here. So I'm putting a gold and a green shamrock on the hat. Now just shape it like this, kind of like a top hat. And it's going to have a black hat band. So we'll put that on before we put on the brim. Just roll it out, flatten it. I'm just looking at this, that 15 minutes have gone by and we're on is that our third? Yes, that's our third one. I don't know. I guess the other ones take a little longer because I know this video is an hour long, but stay with it. Don't give up. I really like this hat one. It's a lot of fun. And you just pinch the brim of the hat to get it flat like that. And now this is what I used to call a grommet, but it is an eyelet. You can get it anywhere in the craft store. Look for it in the sewing department. That's probably where you can get it. Oh, big truck went by. There we go. Oh, let's get back into focus. There we go. Anyway, you can get it at the craft. Oh, excuse me. You can get it at the craft store in the sewing department. Eyelets. And now I am going to. Well, it's a lighter green than the hat, but can't really tell on the video that it's much lighter, but it is. I'm going to roll it out. And you can use the pasta machine to roll it out. And I'm going to put on the gold shamrock first. And for these, I'm going to use the little tiny Kemper cutters. And they're a great tool to have, and they're not expensive. Another sip of coffee. Ooh, that was so good. Okay, here we go. See how tiny that is? Very, very tiny. And it's a heart cutter. And I use it quite a bit to do the hearts on the ornaments. And we need 3 to make a shamrock. I put it in the wrong spot. Put it up on top. There we go. I like the hat pin. And while I'm putting the shamrocks on, I want to talk to you about the pin backs. When you add the pin backs, I know a lot of clayers like to put the pin back on, then put a layer of clay over. I don't do that. I use super glue. When you have to do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pins, super glue is the way to go. And don't use the glue gun. It won't hold. And don't use a lot of super glue. It does not take a lot, just a little bit. And believe me, you will never get that thing off. And when you put the pin backs on. Always make sure when you do the pin back, like on the hat, and it goes up and I guess it's called vertical. You put it on vertically, up and down. Make sure that the opening is at the bottom, because that way, if the pin should happen to open while someone is wearing it, it won't fall off, hopefully. If you do it the other way, it will definitely fall off. So, and make sure with your pin backs that they all open and close properly before you glue them onto your pins, because there are always quite a few in a package that just will not open and close. So take all those little precautions before you do anything. And now we've made our two little shamrocks on the hat. And of course, we have to put a few gold coins there too. And that's it. Oh, I did not lift it up to show you. I'm sorry, but you'll see it later. Now, I rolled out some clay on the pasta machine, doubled it over, and you don't want this too thin. This is a very big cookie cutter. I have a smaller one, but I couldn't find it. But if you can use a smaller one, please do so. And I'm going to trim the edges. This is actually the cookie cutter I used on the plant stick. And we're going to trim those rough edges. Get that excess clay off that we don't need. You don't want that on there. Now, in the smaller size of this, when I did the craft shows, oh my gosh, I sold so many of these pins. This little leprechaun head on the shamrock. And I did matching earrings, little leprechaun head matching earrings, and I sold them as sets. Oh, yikes. Made so many of those. And I made a little indentation, and that's where the head is going to go. Oh, the cars are loud out there. We had a bit of an incident here last night. Now we're rolling little teardrops like we did on the plant stick, if you watched that, and we're doing that for the hair. Someone pulled into the neighbor's driveway, and they're not living there anymore because they built a big house on the hill across the street, and pulled into the neighbor's driveway with two flat tires, and she came knocking on our front door, and her boyfriend, 21-year-old, she was 18, 21-year-old boyfriend was in the car, overdosed on heroin. And my nephew went out there and he gave him CPR, and the police came and the ambulance and the fire trucks. And everybody was saying that he died. They said they gave him 2 shots of Narcan, two doses of Narcan, and took him to the hospital. And someone told me that on the police scanner, they heard that he had died at the hospital. And I didn't know anything about that until this morning, because I slept through the whole thing. It was 11 o'clock at night, and I was already fast asleep. But anyway, the guy's girlfriend called today to say she was going to come and get the car. And okay, we're doing a little rounded hat for him, like a bowler hat. And she said he's fine, he didn't die, and which thank God. But Wow, how scary. I know there are no teenagers or kids watching this, but hey, if you are, don't do drugs. I mean, that is just horrible. But it's a terrible epidemic in the country right now. And that is like, we live on a very busy road, and that's like the third time, not an heroin overdose or anything, but people breaking down and stuff happening outside, and where, the police came, and I sleep through it. I missed all the action, like accident in the road. I missed that. I don't know. All right, I didn't like the way that one looked, so I'm making another one. And that's like, I guess that's like the little British bowler hat that I put on him. Well, I hope I didn't take your mind away from claying, but that's just a day in the life, I guess. A day in the life, yeah, I slept through it. That's an exciting day, isn't it? Well, I'm just glad that the boy's okay. I hope he learned a lesson, hopefully. Now we're making this shamrock exactly the way we did the others, except it's very small, very tiny. And sometimes these little tiny pieces don't want to do what you want them to do. Oh, we got this one good. Okay. And of course, our little gold coins. And our ears. Oh no, I'm making his bow. No, did I make his bow tie first? No, ears first, then the bow tie. This whole thing is about layering. You're building from the bottom up, kind of like a house, building from the bottom up. Make your foundation and go up. This always reminds me of the Lucky Charms cereal. I used, I used to sometimes eat that when I was a kid. And of course, you eat out everything except the marshmallows, and you save them for the end when they get a little bit soaked up with milk, and so yummy. And he needs a nose. Make sure it's pressed on really well. Don't just lay it on his face. Now, you can paint his mouth on if you want, or you can do it with a needle tool like I am doing. You could also use seed beads for his eyes if you want to, but I will be painting his eyes on. And of course, blush before you bake. But we are only halfway through this video. Looks like I put a little too much blush on them there. That's okay. Oh no, I didn't show him to you either. Well, you'll see him. I don't know why. I always like to hold them up a little closer to the camera, and I didn't do it. Now, on this one, I'm going to show you how to make the shamrock without using cutters. As you can see, we're doing teardrop shapes, all the same size. We're going to do 6 of them. And I have shown you how to make hearts like this. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start by making hearts, and then we'll put them all together, and we will have a shamrock. Now this one, I made a lot of this one too, but I did them with seed beads, but I couldn't find my seed beads. I think I'm going to have to go out and buy some. But you can do seed bead eyes on, oh, excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups. But you can do seed bead eyes on this one, but I made his eyes. You can also paint the eyes on. And I decided to do the white eyeballs with the black dots. Ah, another sip of coffee. Now you see you want to blend in that seam in the middle. Oh gosh, I bet you heard that car go by. We're going to attach them. I should not have mentioned the cereal Lucky Charms, because now that song Magically Delicious is going through my head. It will probably be in there for the next 3 days. I don't know, how does that happen? You get a song stuck in your head. See? That came out pretty good for making it by hand. And we're going to put a stem. Oh, there goes Fuzzy again. Okay, we're coming back now. There we go. And you can also do this with the other little leprechaun head if you don't have a cutter. I think I left in the pin after this that I did not finish making because I did not like where it was going, so I just didn't finish it. But if you want to finish it, feel free. I'm putting a little hat on there. It's a little green hat, and he's going to have a yellow hat band. And you wonder, why am I putting a green hat on him when the shamrock is green? Well, it's kind of all blending together. So, you kind of want to think it's part of the shamrock. And we're putting the brim on, and of course, pinch it so it looks flat. See, and I left this little gap here to tell you about the pin backs, but I already told you about them, so sorry. Here's another eyelet we're going to put in. I'm just going to press it in a little bit. And now I indented his eyes and I put in some white. Now you can also paint that on, or you can put in seed beads. And all of these can also be made with a hanger, so you could hang it on a tree. However, if you put a pin on it, you can still hang it on the tree. So that will be the best of both worlds. I wasn't really happy with his eyes. I think I should have painted them on. Too late now. Well, look at that. I'm not even happy there. I redid it. But I should have, in hindsight, I should have painted them on. You know, with this busy road out here, and we're only like 15 feet from the road, I always wonder what happens if a car comes crashing in here. Yes, we had another incident the other day where I was coming back and I was making a left-hand turn into the driveway, and there were two lanes of cars coming towards me. And I was making a left-hand turn into the driveway. I had two or three cars behind me. And of course, I had to wait for the cars coming towards me. And this big pickup truck comes flying around me on the left-hand side, heading straight for the oncoming traffic. And luckily, the person in the car coming towards me was able to pull over into the other lane. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I had made my turn at that moment? I wouldn't be here talking to you. I don't know, some people just don't know how to drive. Okay, that's enough of a rant. It was scary, believe me. I gave him a little orange nose, and of course, you can give him a green nose, and I gave him green eyebrows. And you can paint the mouth on or do it with the needle tool. I gave him kind of a crooked smile. You can give him any kind of smile you want. Dot the corners with a knitting needle. Yeah, I'm happy with him, but he needs some gold coins. Now, I do have the other pin in another video which has the rainbow and the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Blush before you bake. I put a lot of blush on him because he's green, but I think I put a little too much. But again, that's okay. And those are the 5 pins slash ornaments. Oh, I think I did take the one out that I didn't like. I think I took it out of here. Let's see. I don't remember. Did I do it? I was debating, should I take it out? Should I leave it in? I didn't like it. I didn't finish it. But it looks like I may have left it in. No, I didn't. Did I? I'm kind of confused myself here. I don't remember. And I just made this video like last week. Well, we'll see. I think I may have left it in. But you know, the legend of St. Patrick is that he chased all of the snakes out of Ireland. And that's why Ireland has no snakes. I should move there because we have a lot of snakes here. So I made a gold snake that was curling around the shamrock. I did not like the way it looked. So I didn't finish it. But if you want to finish it, like I said, go ahead. And it is in one of my ebooks on Etsy. But I didn't really care for it on there either. So So I just rolled out. Wow, I rolled out a snake to make a snake. How cool is that? No, my coffee is not spiked. Oh, speaking of which, I think I'll have another sip while you roll out your snake. Now make the tail a little thinner and the head a little fatter. And I just pressed it on following the shape of the shamrock. I hope you're not disappointed that I didn't finish it, but you can finish it. I think I should have made the head go more towards the middle of the shamrock to fill up that space in the middle, in case that's something, if you want to do this, I think that would be the way to go. And I did give him a mouth with the needle tool. And then I think the last thing I did on here was I rolled a little tiny bit of red and stuck it in his mouth. And then, of course, you can do his eyes, paint the eyes or whatever. But I was not happy with him, so I just stopped. And I went on and did a teddy bear. Looking at him now, he's not really that bad. Here comes the red to make his little teeny tiny tongue. And that's where we ended. And went on to the teddy bear because I didn't finish him. But you can finish him. Now for the teddy bear, we are going to make a shamrock with the medium size Kemper cutters. And he's going to be holding the shamrock. And this teddy bear is going to be sitting on a pot of gold. And we're going to use black, obviously, for the pot. And the gold for the gold coins. So, and this will be our last project for this. I think that makes 6. Yeah, let's call it 6.5 with that half snake we did. So we're going to roll a ball to do the pot of gold and then press it down a little bit and just make a little indentation. Do not take out a whole lump. Ugh, I can't talk. Don't make it into a real pot. Like just leave the top flat there. That's where we're going to put the coins. Now that's me. See, I am bumping on the table, but that does not affect the tripod. It's when those trucks and cars go by on the road. Okay, I think I've bored you enough with the trucks and cars going by on the road. Let's do this teddy bear. Now I'm going to bore you with making the pot. We're going to make a little rim for the pot, just kind of pinch it. It's not a pinch pot. We're just going to, and I'm off camera, we're just going to pinch it a little bit and then kind of roll it over to give it that round look. I actually have a pot of gold cookie jar that was made in Ireland. I got it at a thrift store for like $2, and I thought, oh, might give that to my niece. Her father's mother's side, her grandmother on her father's side is from an Irish family, Irish Catholic family. Her father is one of 8 kids. Can you imagine having 8 children under the age of 10? Oh my gosh. I have to say that her grandmother was such a fun-loving woman. She was really nice. I liked her. Now we are going to put on the gold coins. What is taking me so long? I don't know. This video is long enough. So, I don't know how many of you like Jane Austen, but she's one of my favorite authors, and I am planning on going to see the new Emma movie. And of course, I will compare it to every other Emma movie I have ever seen. Also, the miniseries with Johnny Lee Miller, which I enjoyed. And I don't know how many of you like Pride and Prejudice, but my favorite adaptation to film of it was the series from 1995 with Colin Firth. There are different opinions on that. But again, I don't know how many of you like Jane Austen. I do. And maybe I should have fast forwarded through this part where I'm putting all the gold coins on. I'm sure you will. And you don't have to completely fill in the middle because the teddy bear will be sitting there. And I am making a white teddy bear. He's little. He's a tiny little guy, not even an inch tall. Well, maybe an inch tall. And I am thinking that every month I'm going to make a teddy bear. So next month I'll do an Easter teddy bear. And I should have done, I think I'll also next month do the Valentine teddy bear, since I did not do one for February. Now, my great niece, can't believe my great niece, oh, I'm so old. She is going to be 14 on not Valentine's Day, on St. Patrick's Day. It's got to be tough for kids to have their birthdays on a holiday. Her brother was born 3 days after Christmas, and so you always have to make sure, you know, St. Patrick's Day isn't as bad as being born on Christmas, because that's far enough apart. I was actually born around the 4th of July. Not on the 4th of July, but around the 4th of July. But of course, I was born in Germany where they don't really care about the 4th of July. And I found out the hard way that July 1st is the Canadian Independence Day because we drove to Canada one time on July 1st, hoping to avoid the July 4th traffic. And we got into Canada, and oh gosh, it was horrible. A trip that should have taken an hour took 5 hours. The highways were packed. Never made that mistake again. And Toronto at rush hour is murder. I guess just like any other big city. And now on the pot, I also put some, see, he's about an inch. I also put some little gold coins on the bottom, ones that spilled over. I'm going to take another sip of coffee before it gets too cold. It's almost cold anyway. Now the bear's body is like a cone, a little bit smaller at the top and big at the bottom. And you can also make it a round ball if you want. It doesn't make any difference. And then we're going to roll out some legs that kind of like teardrop shapes. And the arms are going to be a little bit shorter than the legs. And just press them on and push it up just a little bit to give them feet. Oh, excuse me, paws. There we go. And press them on at the hips. Put his arms on and just attach them at the top right now because he's going to be holding the shamrock, so we'll readjust the arms as soon as we get that shamrock on. And we're going to make the shamrock. Press that on. And you can see how easy it is to make the shamrock using just the heart cutters. You don't really need a cookie cutter, a shamrock cookie cutter. Because I know they're probably hard to find in these sizes, if you can even find them in those small sizes. And now put it on the way you like, that he's holding it, and fold his arms over so he's holding the shamrock. There we go. I'm amazed. I've gotten through almost an hour of this video and my phone did not ring because I turned it off. And also, nobody bothered me. I told everybody, I'm doing narration for an hour. Do not bother me unless it is a life-threatening emergency. I told them that last time too, and they still bothered me twice for nonsense stuff. But they have not bothered me this time. I'm shocked. Okay, 2 little balls for his ears. Just indent them a little bit. And I just use the end of my paintbrush to do that. And a little black nose. Press it on. Oh, it didn't want to stick. There we go. Press. Nope. Didn't go that time either. Now here's where you really have to be careful that your clay is very well conditioned. Put a little stem on the shamrock. And of course, a few gold coins or more gold coins. Now in this video, I'm going to show how I paint these. What on earth am I doing? I don't know. Sorry. But make sure you put your blush on before you bake him, which I showed it there, but it didn't really come up. Blush before you bake. I did put it on him, but I didn't show him afterwards. Okay, here's all our guys ready to be painted. And I know you probably didn't make it this far. You're probably snoozing by now. I know I almost am. Well, now I think I could have cut this out. I hope I didn't cut the wrong part out. Oh my gosh, did I cut out the part where I painted them? That would be terrible. Almost looks like it. Oh my gosh. Now, what I did with I actually burned that wishbone a little bit in the oven. Now, the wishbone, the horseshoe, and the hat, I gave them kind of an antique look. And I didn't have any antiquing medium here, so I just used some black paint, covered it completely with black paint. All right, I guess I'm not doing that yet. I'm doing these guys first. Just two little white dots on the eyes. And I know I love doing these three little dots, and I know you're all thinking, wow, that is so 80s. Yes, it is, but I still like it. And I think I still like the way it looks. You don't have to do that, but I like the way it looks. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other guy. And I gave him little white dots on his eyebrows just to liven him up a little bit. Now I'm going to paint the white of his eyes, but you have to wait until that's dry to put the black on. So, but I will do his little dots. But while I'm doing his dots, I'm going to explain to you what I did with the other three. I took black paint, completely covered them with black paint. Then I wiped off the black paint and all the little nooks and crevices and things, kept the black paint and gave it a bit of an antique look. You don't have to do that, but I did. So you kind of have an option there. So I hope I show you that. I'm sure I do. But I did not do a good job editing here. Sorry, folks. So maybe if you did make it all the way to the end here, it's probably a good thing. I think I'm going to stop it here. Oh no, here we go. I was going to stop it and cut this off, but here we go. And another little tip, when you do the antiquing of any of these, wear a pair of rubber gloves. You know, those gloves like the doctors wear, the dentists, because you're going to get this all over your hands. Yeah, let's get these guys out of the way. I mean, yeah, it gets messy. I don't know if you've watched the Steampunk Santa, the full Steampunk Santa. That was a long video too, but I antiqued him and I really went overboard antiquing him. I had to wash some of it off. Actually, I think I ended up washing some of this off these guys too. Look at my hands. Mm-mm-mm. So my recording stopped. So I was able to cut out all that stuff that you probably didn't even want to see. And I'm going to show you how they turned out. So I hope I'm recording again. It said the maximum had been reached. And this is the hat. And you see how the black paint went into all the little nooks and crannies. And it's still a little bit wet. It needs to dry. And the wishbone. And the horseshoe. And there they all are. On the horseshoe, you can really see where it says luck, how the black stayed in the little nooks there. I think they came out all right. So, and here are guys, and he just needs his eyes finished. And that's it. And you just need to put, of course, these have been baked already. I just want to make that clear. They're painted after they're baked. So someone might have a question about that. But yeah, they're painted after they're baked. And I don't put a sealer or shine on my ornaments. There's our plant stick. Here's our teddy bear. We're going to paint his eyes. Oh, there we go, fuzzy again. And for his eye, I only put on 2 black dots. And you can see I put his blush on before he was baked. And there we are. All our guys are done. Now the black, if you buff it up with a cloth, it buffs up really nice to a nice shine. And there they all are. And that's it. Happy St. Patrick's Day. See you next time.